Hello and assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Swanky Doctors podcast. This is your host Ali Haider, and today we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Farooq Afzal, who is an outstanding surgeon practicing in Lahore. Currently, he is also serving as the principal of Services Institute of Medical Sciences, Lahore. Dr. Afzal, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining us today. It's really an honor to have you on
Thank
the
you.
show.
Thank you, Ali, for the invitation and the honor. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Dr. Afzal, we will start with a few basic questions like where were you born, how was your early life like, and where did you get your early education from?
So I was born in a small town in district Gujarat called Kunja. Right.
Okay.
So I had my early schooling in Lahore, primary from Lahore, and then matriculation from FG Public School, Gujranwala, Kent. My father was in civil service, so I had moved all around the Punjab districts. I think I've seen at least 29 of the 34 districts of Punjab. But lastly, I graduated, my matriculation was from FG Public School, Gujranwala, Kent. And then in 82, I got admission in Government College, Lahore. And 84, we passed, and then we joined the class of PMC, Punjab Medical College, Faisalabad. MBBS class. His class started in 85.
Okay, that's cool. So, Dr. Afzal, how was the life like at med school back in your days?
So, actually, my PMC life initially was unexpected because most of my college mates in FC in Government College Lahore were either admitted in King Edward or in Allama Iqbal Medical College. I being the maybe the likest of the class, so I probably was not the one initially in that group. So initially, I thought I was in the wrong college. But PMC has a great feeling. I mean, initially you feel that you are somewhere in a different place, but I think the atmosphere I got later on was so amazing. I developed many friends. I did whatever I wanted to do. I was participant in all these sports. I was also academically very good. Ultimately, an overall best graduate of those class. So I really enjoyed my tenure at PMC.
Okay, great. So, Dr. Afzal, how did you jump into your professional career, and how did you develop interest in surgery?
Well, surgery probably was in my genes. I had a lot of love for these experiments, the frog experiments. And even in my matriculation days, I used to cut frogs and see how their heart beats and how their system works. And from that onwards, I think many of my own father's colleagues, they just saw my fingers and said, "Do you have the fingers of a surgeon?" But real motivator was basically the sickness of my younger brother. He developed a rheumatic heart disease while he was a kid, and I just wanted to be a cardiac surgeon so that I could help him when he grew up. I could operate on him, and that was the real internal drive to become a surgeon.
Mm-hmm. That's impressive. So, can you please share with us some of the memorable moments as a surgeon?
So I started my internship was at Light Hospital, and I was very lucky that even as a house surgeon, I was very favorite of my professor. Professor Wali Sagar just recently died. May Allah rest his soul in peace. He was a great he was a great friend and a great teacher. And I think the last 1 month he took me around. This is the bond between your teacher and your student. This is very important. I was lucky. I had a great bond with one of my assistant professor, Professor Zahid Hashmi, who was later principal of Punjab Medical College, and I still have a bond with him. I still have a bond with my another mentor, Professor Irfan Mirza. So these three important bonds were there that helped me basically become a good surgeon later on. So I joined Mayo Hospital residency, and I was referred by Professor Wali Sagar to Professor Iqbal Ahmed Khan, who also died a few years back. He was a great mentor. May Allah rest his soul in peace. And these people started influencing my initial career as a surgeon. And then
Okay.
I was joined by another great surgeon, Professor Zafar Chaudhry, Professor Shabir Ahmed
Yeah.
Khan, Professor Asif Beg Mirza, and many of those who basically helped me mold my training as a surgeons. And then
Yeah.
I was lucky that I went abroad. I had this Professor Lee Swanstrom and Emma Patterson. She had a great influence on my ultimate um, making of a bariatric surgeon and advanced laparoscopic surgeons. I also met Professor Muhammad Al Nami at Saudi Arabia because I spent some time in King Khalid University Hospital, which was attached with King Saud. So I was very lucky that I have many mentors during my surgical training, and I learned a lot from them.
Okay, that's cool. So, Dr. Afzal, I saw MD written with your tagline when I was looking into your profile. So, I would like to know, okay, did you went to the USMLE वाला pathway या फिर आपके पास post graduation के
Yeah,
लिए छोटे मोटे?
no, I did my USMS. That time in 1992, it was ECFMG certification. So I
Yeah.
did my step one and step two while he was in house job, right?
Okay.
So at that time, I didn't go for residency because of some internal reason at home. But
Okay.
later, I was given a chance to do a fellowship in states based on the same ECFMG certification. So I did
Okay.
ECFMG certification, and then I was eligible for training program as a fellow. So I was very lucky because
Okay.
that fellowship was also, you see, a matching system. There was a matching system. You don't
Yeah.
get residency straight away, a fellowship straight away. So I
Hmm.
matched to that fellowship. I actually matched to two fellowships. One was the this transplant fellowship, and another was this advanced laparoscopic and bariatric fellowship. So I preferred this advanced laparoscopic and bariatric fellowship. So I trained in States and then came back in 2007, and I joined Pakistan as a assistant professor of surgery.
Okay, that's impressive. Dr. Afzal, what I have seen is that mostly the people who go abroad, especially in the US, they don't generally come back. So, what was the drive behind you coming back?
Well, this is still a very nagging point in my life because my wife still does not forgive me for that. Uh, well, I thought when I was in the state, I was in age 37, 38. I thought that if I go back with the same qualification training, I probably would serve better, my nation better as compared to serving here, because there were many like me in US, but
Yeah.
very few were like me in Pakistan. So I
Hmm.
don't regret that, but my family does regret this because you know that the living in US is totally different from what we are living here in Pakistan. But
Yeah.
I have no regret for it. Alhamdulillah, whatever I am is I'm very satisfied and contented with whatever I have received.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. So, Dr. Farooq, I would like to know, okay, how has technology impacted the field of surgery, and what advances do you see coming in the future?
Well, I've seen the internet in my own like training program. I was in training when we used to go to Punjab University and see this DOS programs, right? And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, 1995, there was Windows, and Windows changed everything, all the
Yeah.
research literature, and then came the videos and stuff like that. So this, what we call the social learning or a social media platform, is basically one of the biggest advances in surgical sciences. It is affecting the other sciences as well, but I think surgical sciences are so much affected by this. The other
Hmm.
thing is what we have is the availability of these videos and Zoom meetings and webinars, especially in the COVID. We have seen that experts which we used to pay maybe billions of rupees to come to Pakistan, now we're just asking them to give us a lecture or a demonstrator
Yeah.
video, and they are doing it. So this is a huge revolution, especially in the last few years. This has tremendously impacted the surgery training as well as the training of the surgeons itself. I mean,
Hmm.
if I do an operation, which I've done maybe 6 months back, it's very easy for me to go and see a video of an expert doing it and just revise and refresh my knowledge and go back and do surgeries the next day. So it has a huge impact. Previously, before 90, this was not a thing which was available freely. People used to have their videos, but that were
Hmm.
not good resolution videos and they were not freely available. Now you have videos of all the kinds and the learning resources are so much there. The multimedia has tremendously changed everything. And this internet is the biggest revolution in front of me. And then these social media platforms, they not only have given you chance of interaction with each other, but I think there are huge learning opportunities from each other. And we have
Yeah.
so many WhatsApp groups now. We chat with each other, we learn from each other. So it's a huge thing. I think it's a huge transformation in the last 5 to 10
Yeah, you
years.
are absolutely right. So, Dr. Afzal, how do you keep yourself updated with the latest medical research and development, and how do you inculcate that knowledge into your practice?
So I read often. I almost read one article daily, or maybe in at least in a week. At least I read 2 or 3 articles, because if I don't read something, it feels that I'm just wasting myself. So this is a
Yeah.
habit. Secondly, I also read books other than surgery.
Okay.
Recently, I'm enrolled for an MBA program from the United States, and one of my friends, Arif Asif, said, if you are a principal, I mean, you learned surgery, you learned medical education. I had a master's in medical education. And
Mhm.
why don't you learn human management? So I'm enrolled
Mhm.
into an MBA program, and I'm so lucky that I'm learning this. So learning is a never-ending business. I think as long as you're alive, you must learn. And one of my modes is to keep updated with the research journals. I have an access to the journal through my Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh, because I'm the fellow of that, and I have
Okay.
access to other channels as well. So I keep updating myself through literature and through these updates through videos and WhatsApp groups.
Okay, that's impressive. So, Dr. Afzal, being a surgeon, how do you maintain a healthy work-life balance, and how do you manage the stress that is associated with this profession?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question, because I think I don't have the right answer for that. Because sometimes you fail to maintain that balance,
Mhm.
especially since I become a principal. This is a
Yeah.
24/7 job, and this has sometimes taken a toll on you. But I still
Mhm.
believe that exercise and meditation and a good connection of friends and your family life is important. And we want to like keep. So one thing which I have reduced is my private practice, and because of
Yeah.
that, I have reduced. Although financially might be not very good thing to do, but this has basically helped me maintain the balance. So my priority is my family as number one. So I reduce my practice hours and I give more time to my family and my parents especially.
Okay, coming towards that point, now that you're serving as the principal of SIMS, I would like to know, okay, how has that experience been like for you? And because what I have seen is surgeons who have a very established practice don't generally opt for this option because it is highly demanding and obviously आपके पास financial आपके पास कह लें setbacks भी आते हैं उसकी वजह से तो what was the कह लें motive behind opting for this post?
Well, one thing I've learned earlier in my life is contentment. uh,
Mhm.
I have seen that whatever money you basically receive, you never be contented if you do not set limits for your own earning. So I'm
Mhm.
Alhamdulillah a very satisfied person, or a very contented person, as well as money wise. The second thing is there's a contentment from inside, that you basically do something at a bigger level or a higher purpose. One of my idea of becoming a principal, although I sacrificed my position as a professor, was to, if I
Mhm.
can contribute to the well-being of my medical education, especially, I should be. And I
Okay.
asked my team whether I should appear for a principal's interview or not. So most of them said you should. And now maybe they regret it because our team is broken up. But I think there are a few opportunities of contributing at this high level. And I did try to contribute as a principal. I have set the academic direction of my college. I've engaged my
Okay.
faculty and students, and this is a bigger achievement. It's just 1 year, but
Mhm.
since we have tried our best to keeping the collective leadership model, we have tried our best to transform the SIMS into a highly academic institute, which is producing the best doctors.
Okay, that's impressive. So, Dr. Farooq, you have keenly looked into the current education system or the current medical education system here in Pakistan. I would like to know, okay, what changes would you like to see in our current system, and how can these changes be implemented effectively?
I think the medical education in our country has a direct bearing with the pre-medical education which we are receiving. So most of the time, our kids are receiving the pre-medical education, which does not develop critical thinking and problem solving in those people. Most of the time, they have to remember things, and this is the problem with our kids.
Yeah.
So one of the transformation which I want in our system is that we should devise strategies and structure strategies so that our kids are, our medical students are basically problem solver and critical thinkers and researchers. We need to devise our own solution for our own problems, right? We cannot borrow from the West the solutions they have. Actually, they have their own different situation, and we have particular situations. So I want our people and all the medical institutions and other postgraduate institutions to basically work in the direction so that we can find solutions for ourselves. And for this, we need to train our youngsters. I think our youngsters are like blank slates. They are very talented, very hardworking, and they are an optimum source of optimism for me. I mean, I believe if we can change this force, we can change this country. We can change the fate of this country. And with this view, I work with my medical students, and inshallah, you will see a lot of difference. If our students come towards problem solving and critical thinking, and these all are learnable skills. The second thing which I want our students to learn is the leadership and working in teams, right? Healthcare is all teamwork. So that's why I promote sports during the schooling, medical schooling. I think this gives you a lot of training in team working, and leadership is the one which is, I think, lacking. The other program which I'm focusing is on mentorship, and mentorship, leadership, and research. These are the three focus which I have put on my medical schools. And I think if we can extrapolate to other medical students, we can bring a lot of changes in the undergraduate medical education as well, and which will affect the postgraduate medical education.
Okay, that's great. So, Dr. Afzal, our current जो आपके पास system है, it is not investing enough in the human resource. And जो budget आता है, what I have seen is कि it generally goes to building new infrastructure. और फिर इसका result क्या होता है कि most of the times जो healthcare workers हैं, they are generally unhappy and they aren't willing to serve the system to their fullest of the potential. So, how do you see this entire thing?
I totally agree. Actually, our policy makings are in the hands of the bureaucrats. So a bureaucrat would be, so there will be a secretary for 6 months, and then he would be transferred to an agriculture department, and then from agriculture, he will to department irrigation and stuff like that. We need people who are policy makers, and our policies should be long-term, right? And only then we can have some good effect on it. Our policies are day-to-day basis, right? In my medical school, my emphasis of my administration and my whole hierarchy is on the running of the hospital. In fact, they hardly understand that if I focus on medical school, the product which I will bring up is going to impact the outcome as vis-a-vis the patient care.
Yeah.
But since it is a slow process, I mean, the product would take some time. People want a quick solution. They want that things should happen in minutes. And our managements are mostly reactionary based on news channels and TV channels, reports and stuff like that. So you will have less time for making long-term policy. I think if you let the deans and the principals and the university people to focus on the training of those postgraduates and undergraduates, only then we can deliver that a better healthcare system in Pakistan. Otherwise, it would be just a cosmetic measures, and it's not going to make good results. So long-term policy making and planning is important.
Okay, you're absolutely right. So, Dr. Afzal, what do you believe are the most important skills for the students to develop as a future healthcare professionals?
I think number one is leadership skills. I still believe that working in teams and leadership is very, very important. Number two is their problem solving things. Medicine, every day you have new problem, right? And your ability to go and develop lateral thinking to solve those problems is critical. So my take would be this. And the third one is research and audit. I think you should have research skills and audit skills so that you see where we are going. Research is telling you what is right, and the audit is telling you whether I'm doing something rightly or not. So these are the three fundamental skills I want people, medical students, to learn, and inshallah that will give them a huge benefit over others.
Okay, that's cool. So, as a senior member of College of Physicians and Surgeons of Pakistan, can you please tell us about the organization and what's exactly the role of this organization?
Well, CPSP, or College of Physicians and Surgeons, was created in 1962 for the clinical postgraduate qualifications and their regulation, actually, right?
Okay.
And this was a degree awarding institution which was supposed to give degrees in clinical diplomas. Like now, the college is serving more than 80 specialties. They are producing fellows in more than 80 specialties. And there are more than 30,000 fellows of College of Physicians and Surgeons. And their fundamental role is to develop specialists who can provide specialist care in all parts of Pakistan. And this is the fundamental role of College of Physicians and Surgeons. So there
Okay.
are three processes through which it is done. The one is induction, in which FCPS Part 1 is basically taken up. They pass an examination, which is basically the MCQ. Secondly, there's a training period. Training period can be from 4 to 5 years. And once you finish with that training period, you have to pass an examination. You have to undergo assessment. And once you are successful in that assessment, then you are given a title in FCPS. Now, the question is, once you've done your FCPS, you're still under training. You are not become a specialist state where you're still under training, because then the college basically trained you to become FCPS senior registrars. So senior registrars actually a training post. And once you finish with your senior registrars training, which I think should be more than 2 years, only then you are good enough to become either a consultant or a full-time faculty member somewhere.
ठीक हो गया. डॉक्टर अफजल, व्हाट आई हैव सीन इज के मोस्टली आपके पास जितने भी प्रोफेसर हैं, चाहे वो अंडर ग्रेड लेवल पे हों और इट इज़ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन लेवल, they are not generally receptive to accepting new ideas. Like अगर कोई स्टूडेंट उनके पास जाता है एंड वो कहता है कि आई हैव रेड दिस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक फ्रॉम अ सर्टेन बुक, जो कि उनके मुताबिक वो बुक ठीक नहीं है, तो उनका जो आपके पास मूड है वो फ़ौरन ही चेंज हो जाएगा और वो मार्किंग जो है वो फिर कह लें कि पहले से ही जज करना स्टार्ट कर देंगे स्टूडेंट्स को. एक ये फैक्टर आप इसको कैसे समझते हैं कि ये कहाँ तक ठीक है? और दूसरा ये कि in the modern age, when a student या medical students graduate and when he jumps into the professional field, तो जो आपकी CV होती है वो बहुत मैटर कर रही होती है, और CV को स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए सिर्फ एकेडमिक्स पे फोकस करना इस टाइम इट्स नॉट द राइट अप्रोच. तो मैं इस पे चाहूँगा कि आप इस पे थोड़ा सा व्यू शेयर करें. और दूसरा ये कि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स स्टूडेंट्स के ऊपर ये प्रेशर होता है कि दे शुड कीप देयर अटेंडेंस ओवर 70%, और जब अगर अटेंडेंस पे फोकस करने लगें तो वो प्राइमरीली उनका फोकस हो जाता है टुवर्ड्स द एकेडमिक्स, और वो फिर एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर्स में लैग करना स्टार्ट कर जाते हैं. डोंट यू थिंक कि जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उनको थोड़ा सा फोकस करना चाहिए इस चीज़ पे और थोड़ी लीनियंसी यहाँ पे दिखानी चाहिए?
Because there are a few university regulations which we have to follow as a student, right? So if the university says 70% attendance or a 75% attendance, this must be right. This must be followed. Otherwise, there should not be any regulation, right? If a person who has 10% attendance and another one who has a 90% attendance, if there is no difference between these two, then I think nobody would be coming to the college instead, because people say that this lecturer is not good or this lecturer is not good. So I think there is a reason of coming to school, and attendance has to be given a priority, because even if you are not learning something, you learn from each other. There is a lot of social interaction, which if you're not learning from your teacher, you can at least see what was the topic and how your colleagues basically did it, or maybe something you learn from your colleagues if you're not learning from your teacher. The second thing, which about your teacher, I mean, you said that they do not accept. Yes, so there are a few teachers who would not accept the new idea, and that is again the same thing, because they are brought up with the same mindset that you have to have a memorized answer to a problem, right? And this is because if you do not give the same answer which you have memorized, right, you would not get the same marks. This is a mentality which they have developed during their education, pre-med education, and even post-med education as well. So I think the fundamental thing is that we have to start faculty development programs And most of the colleges and universities have those faculty development programs where we not
Mhm.
only teach them that what is the best way of teaching, but
Mhm.
how can you facilitate learning of a student. That a focus is actually as a teacher. So my definition of a good teacher is a teacher is the one who facilitates the learning of a learner, which is the student.
Mhm.
And how does he
Yeah.
facilitate? By creating an environment where the learning happens, right? इसका एक
Mhm.
माली का रोल है, जैसा एक माली जो है वो ही looks after the पौधा और सारा कुछ. इसी तरह a teacher is just like as a gardener. And the second thing
Mhm.
I believe is the teacher has a role of a father. So father and gardener are two things which I emphasize to my students as well. That every teacher should strive to make sure to create an environment where the learning would happen. Ultimately, the goal of teaching is learning, actually, right?
Yeah.
And learning can only
Mhm.
happen if you provide the right environment. And there are three fundamental key elements to it: so learner, the teacher, and the environment. So if there is a problem with the teacher, or the problem with the learner, or the problem with the environment, learning would not happen. So I think
Yeah.
teacher, since being a senior person, since ahead of the learner, he should try to create a learning environment. And that means not only respect of the student's opinion, but also
Mhm.
try to create curiosity in the mind of the students. Also make the student think about the lateral thinking or other solutions which are present other than the solution which is written in the books. So this is
Mhm.
the way, again, problem solving, creative thinking, which is so essential in medical schools.
Mhm. You are absolutely right. Dr. Afzal, how do you see the post-graduation qualifications here, yeah, post-graduation training here in Pakistan, and is it up to the mark?
Well, this is I recently fought an election of College of Physician Surgeons just because of the reason that I have seen the deterioration of our products.
Mhm.
Fellowship, when 1995, I did my fellowship FCPS part two. I was eligible for FRCS examination because there was exemption for part one and there was exemption from PLAB as well. Now
Mhm.
everything is gone. We are not exempted from any PLABs or even FRCS, FCPS is not recognized as a degree.
Yeah.
This is a huge toll on us. This is affecting. So it's a painful feeling when you're considered that you're having a third-rated degree, right?
Yeah.
When American Board of Surgery is taken as above you, or FRCS CST is taken above you, and you are
Mhm.
like placed at. So who is responsible for this? So this is the reason I thought that our present administration working in CPSP is totally responsible for this. They could not raise the value of this fellowship, right? And because of
Mhm.
that, all are suffering. All fellows who have done this fellowship are suffering because
Yeah.
internationally they are not recognized, right?
Mhm.
So this was not the same case in early 90s or late 80s. Our degree was
Mhm.
very highly valued. So like deterioration in other aspects of society, we have a deterioration in our uh, FCPS as well. And inshallah, let's see. We are striving our best to keep working for this. And inshallah, we'll try our best to regain the glory of FCPS, which it had before uh, 90s.
Chale, inshallah. Dr. Afzal, now I would like to conclude the entire conversation. Just one last question. Okay, what advice would you like to give to the medical students and young healthcare professionals in Pakistan who are just starting their careers?
Well, my advice is that the medical profession is not a profession, it's a passion. So if you
Yeah.
are interested in medical profession, then you have to sacrifice many things in life, right? And
Mhm.
for this reason, I would emphasize that you think twice before continuing this as a medical profession. It's a passion, means that you have to sacrifice your time, your family life, and you might have to live under financial resources, because you will not be able to keep up with your financial resources, stuff like that. And the
Mhm.
second thing I want you to focus is that if you want to adopt this profession, you have to have a very high degree of training, because it's just an knowledge. Knowledge is a very short half life. It's your
Mhm.
training, the skills you have, the attitude you have that matters. Your hard skills, like your technical skills, and more important, your soft skills, like where you communicate, where you basically connect with people, where you present, where you have research and leadership quality. These are the things which make you successful as a doctor. So work hard on that. Get a training from a good center. And if this good center is abroad, please go to US or UK. I would like you to go to US and UK and come back and serve your nation, because ultimately, who else is going to take care of this nation? You.
Yeah.
No American is going to come back. No British is going to come back to this. This is your country. Get your training and come back and serve this nation. This nation needs you. Please help this nation.
Okay, Dr. Afzal, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with us. It was an amazing session, and I'm pretty sure that people will get some real value out of it, inshallah.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you for your time, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. Allah
Sure.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, sir. Thank you so much to all the viewers who have watched the episode till the very end. Join us next time for more exciting conversations. Until next time, Allah Hafiz.